Hello, John Flavel was a Puritan and he wrote a little book called Keeping Your Heart based on Proverbs 4:23. The book is for Christians and it tells them how to guard their heart or keep their heart in times of trouble. It's very relevant, especially in today's situation in which we find ourselves with this virus, when many Christians seem to be suffering from lockdown and so on. And it's easy in times of trouble that we end up thinking, believing and saying wrong and unbiblical things. And I think this little book will help. I've been reading it and he gives 10 points as to how the Christian can keep their heart, watch their thoughts, keep themselves in control, keep believing the right thing in times of trouble and adversity. Well, I'm not going to read all 10 to you. I'm going to read one at a time. Let me read the introduction. It can serve as a wee devotional. The reason in the life of a Christian requiring more than common diligence, of a Christian is to keep his heart in a time of adversity. The word adversity just means trouble or things aren't going well, difficulties. When providence frowns upon you, that means simply when everything's not going well. When providence frowns upon you and blasts your outward comforts, the things that you took for granted outwardly are now gone, then, says the Puritan, look to your heart, keep it with all diligence, from repining against God. That word repining is an old-fashioned word. It simply means complaining or murmuring against God. For troubles, he goes on to say, though they are sanctified, when a Christian goes through a hard time in life, it's for our good, it's for our holiness, our sanctification. But he says troubles, though they are sanctified, are troubles still. They're still difficult. Jonah was a good man, yet how fretful was his heart under affliction. Job was a mirror of patience, yet how was his heart discomposed by trouble. There's another big word, old-fashioned. Discomposed simply means he was agitated or ruffled when everything didn't go well. When trouble came, he was agitated. You will find it hard to have a composed spirit under great affliction. The hurries and tumults which afflictions lead to, even in the best of hearts. Let me show you then how a Christian under great affliction may keep his heart from murmuring and complaining against God. And he says he'll offer several helps on the condition, and as I said, I'm only reading the first. The first thing, let's remember at this time, if you're feeling that it's difficult for you and you're wondering why God's doing this, here's the first thing to remember. Number one, by these cross providences, that simply means things that aren't nice are happening. It's trouble. It's trouble to you. By these cross providences, God is faithfully pursuing the great design of his electing love towards you. In other words, when bad things come into your life as a Christian, it's a part of God's plan, and through them, it's actually for your good. He's showing his love to you, to the souls of his people. And he is controlling, he goes on to say, he's ordering all these afflictions as a means sanctified to that end. It's to make us better people. It's in God's plan, when we go through troubles, to make us better people. Afflictions do not come by causality, but by counsel, the counsel of God. By this counsel of God, troubles are ordained as the means of spiritual good for the saints or for Christians. And then he quotes 3 Bible verses. By this shall the iniquity of Jacob be purged. But the bad things happening to him. But he, God, for our profit, did such and such. All things work together for good to them that love God. Troubles and affliction, we need to remember, are God's workmen upon our hearts to pull down the pride and security of our sinful heart. And because the troubles pull down our carnal security and our pride, the troubles are actually changed in their nature and are turned into blessings or benefits for our good. It is good for me that I was afflicted, said King David. He didn't say, why is this happening to me? Why is God doing this? No, he says, it was good for me to be afflicted. Surely then, says John Flavel to you and me, surely then you have no reason to quarrel with God, but you should rather be amazed that God should even concern himself with you to use these things for your good, to make you a better person. Paul the Apostle could bless God if by any means he might attain the resurrection from the dead. My brethren, says James, count it all joy when you fall into divers temptations. Divers, I used to think divers meant like diving deep down into the sea, and it was very deep. Temptation doesn't mean that at all. It just means different kinds of. God our Father is following his plan of love upon our souls through these temptations and difficulties, and we would be wrong to be angry with God for this. And all this God does in reference to our eternal and glorious end. It's for our ultimate good upon our soul, says John Flavel. It is our ignorance, it is my ignorance, let me read. It is my ignorance of God's plan that makes me quarrel with him. He says to you in this case, as he did to Peter, what I do now, thou knowest not now, but shall know hereafter. So brethren, that's the first point. The rest will be shorter. That was really an introduction on one point. But remember, in times of adversity, we are to keep our minds, our hearts, our mind, our emotions and will by watching them and thinking the right things and saying the right things. And to do that, remember, please, that God has brought these things into our lives for our good. Thanks for listening. Amen.